allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. Thank you. If you would just turn your cell phones down or turn them off, as if not to disturb the meeting, and we will get away.
Right.
Sir, can you do roll call?
Sure. Councilman O'Flaherty.
Present.
Councilman Castillo.
Here.
Councilman Fazio.
Present.
Councilman Hoppenstedt.
Here.
And Supervisor DePew.
Present. Thank you, sir.
Got it.
Okay, I do have, it looks like, 2 additions. I will read the additions in a moment. First thing I'd like to do is I'd like to make a motion not to read the town board minutes of September 17th, 2024.
I'll make a move. Second.
Okay, we got a motion on the floor with a second not to read the minutes of September 17th, 2024. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So carried. Okay, I'd like to make a motion that we accept the minutes of the regular town board meeting September 17th, 2024.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion on the floor with a second. I'll let you pick that out, Sarah. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So carried. All right, thank you. Okay, the additions. We have the additions, the moratorium that we had spoken about with the battery storage. The paperwork is basically almost finished with that, and the intent is to present it at our 11/6 meeting, and what we will do is basically set a public hearing date anticipated for 11/20. So we are moving ahead with that. That looks good. Also, budget dates. I have a list of budget dates here, and I will make sure that I believe it should be here. You have it for your mailbox. Good. So let's see, the October 2nd, 2024 budget meeting dates, and the announcement is October 7th, 2024. 4:30, we have zoning. 5 p.m., planning board. 5:30, town clerk and publicist. 6 p.m., supervisors, the first half. October 9th, 2024, 5:30 p.m. is the highway budget. October 11th, 2024, 4:30, justice. 5:30, supervisor, second half. And October 15th, 2024, 4:30 p.m. assessor, and 5 p.m. police. October 17th, 2024, 4:30 safety, 5:30 p.m. Supervisor final report. I believe that night also we will probably go over revenues, but we'll see where we're going to fit that in. October 18th, 2024, 4:30 p.m. we have the dog control, and 5:30 p.m. recreation. So that being said, those meetings are subject to change by availability. If something pops up and one of the department heads is not available, we'll give you ample notice and let you know and change those dates. So at this time, that is all the additions I have. Does anybody else have any additions?
Nope.
All set?
All set.
Okay, great. All right, I will make a motion at 7:06 p.m. to open up public input. So there's a motion to open up public input.
Second.
Second by Councilman Hoppenstedt. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So carried. This is your folks' time to shine. Is there any public input?
Well, we have to ask you a question.
Perfect.
What's the deadline for the budget and how much is the tentative going up?
How much is the tentative going up?
I know that's totally, it doesn't matter.
So when you're talking about the tentative going up from what the 2024 budget was to today, the tentative, I will tell you that there is a proximate, and I'll go through it a little bit more when we get to that point. But it looks like to me on the tentative, dollars, don't quote me 100% accurately, but it looks like somewhere in the neighborhood of $769,745.
What's the percentage?
The percentage overall that it went up from last year, or the percentage that we're presenting as a tentative this year, would be 16.70. There's a copy of the budget back there.
I have it.
Grab hold of it. Okay.
But
I think it's on the second page, second or third page. Second page, third page.
Third page?
On the third page, it should be a block and can show you the breakdown of what's going up. So keep in mind, as I think you started to say, it's a tentative. So this is kind of like all the department's wish lists for what they would like to see and what they would like to achieve. And keep in mind, there's a lot of as there is every year. There's a lot of mandates. There's a lot of things that moving parts that everything is going up. So we have to take this very, very seriously in depth and detail, like we do every time. But go through each line item and see where we can save. There's just a lot of requirements this year. There's a lot of things, a lot of moving parts, like I said, that's increased this budget and our hopes, and I feel confident in the board that we're going to lower that quite a bit.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Yes, sir.
My question, has there ever been any talk about joining forces with other towns for your insurance, let's say, or for other services that would end up saving?
For the day-to-day insurance.
So that's the topics that you...
Yeah, this is something, I've been around for a long time. This is something that comes up every year, and we look into that. I will say back probably about, it's got to be at least 8 years ago, I'm going to say, that the governor definitely pushed big time for shared services, and we do a lot of shared services.
With highway, right.
With the highway, with the police department, anything that we can reach across the lines and receive the same services back. And the towns really have worked well with other towns. Certain things we can do that with, certain things we can't. As far as the insurance, we looked at the insurance extensively, and I believe that the insurance rate now, health insurance, I think the anticipated estimate was 11% increase on it alone. So what we do is we look at that. We look at the opportunity. Obviously, if you have a large amount going into one insurance company, they give you better prices.
Right.
You would think. So you have to look at how that's laid out and who actually gives government insurance. So we are constantly looking at not only the health insurance portion of it, and we never want to give less than what we get now. We only want to improve and get better. But it's the same thing with equipment. It's the same thing with building. So liability insurance. And a lot of times, all municipalities pool together and currently go to one specific insurance company or through the county insurance companies and try to get the cost as low as possible. But yeah, it's a lot of investigative work, but it's something we do every year. And budget season is now, but budget season really is 365 days a year. It's every day. So we're constantly looking at the opportunities.
Okay. Any updates on that survey about the buildings and stuff?
Yes, and I'm glad you brought that up. I was going to talk about that, and I forgot to add that to the addition, so I'm glad you brought that up, and I'll talk about that now. Today we had Tinkleman and Associates come in. That was the company, the engineering company that we hired through the bidding process. They came out and did, I guess, kind of an introductory meeting today and gave us kind of a guidelines on what they are going to do, their timelines, how they're going to achieve that. And basically, they've hit the ground running. So today was an introductory with the department heads and a few other folks. Some folks couldn't be here. We also added other folks into the mix. We thought it would be smart to bring in different people. And basically what they're going to do is they're going to take the opportunity to go to each department head or people from the designated departments, interview them, and start talking about their day-to-day operations, what they're lacking in, what they'd like to see, how it can improve, and the deficiencies as it stands right now. So that is anticipated to start next week.
Oh, okay. Did they get over to the highway building too?
They're going to start with the highway building first, primarily, and then they're going to come to the town hall and work to the police station and basically put it all together. I think, excuse me, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
I think the first process, the timeline of the first process was about 6 to 12 weeks. It's kind of spread, but it also, they want to get together all the information they possibly can. And then they'll start putting that together and they'll culminate it into one. And they'll go through the next process and the next process. And hopefully, I believe it was about 3 to 4 months totally that all of that will come into play. I reached out just today, yesterday, last week. I'm waiting for a call back from our survey company. I expect to have the survey of the properties in our hands over the next week or so. I anticipate that.
Well, you answered my question.
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am. You're in the back.
Since Dwight and Annette are filming, I wanted to seize this opportunity to remind the community that the third Thursday of each month is our Veterans Committee meeting here at 7 o'clock, and all are invited to attend.
Great.
Community members, veterans, we're looking for members, so it would be great.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, anyone else? Yes, sir.
Just looking at the page 3 from the budget, just a quick question about 16% or whatever it was for the total, but the numbers are different for what the town is doing. So those other districts for the lighting, drainage,
Yeah.
fire districts, just the top 2 lines are the ones that the town is directly responsible for. Is that correct?
So when you look at those, you're going to look at the general fund. This is what the town is responsible for. The general fund. The general fund is going to talk about this building here. It's also going to talk about the salary of the highway department superintendent, his secretary. You're also going to talk about the police department falls under general fund. When you go down to the DA highway, that talks about everything else, with the exception of that for the highway. You get down to the library. The town has no dogs in the fight there. We do not do anything with that budget. All we are is basically a collection agency for them. You get down to the lighting districts, we don't really, I want to say that's contractual. We really don't have a choice. The lighting districts fall, we have Clintondale and Modena, and basically what ends up happening is Central Hudson tells us what they are. So there's no negotiating saying, hey, we can turn the lights off on odd days or, turn them off in May or what have you when the day is longer. We can't do that. Drainage districts, that falls under our parameter also, and those drainage districts are established when the developer comes in and says, hey, I want to put in X amount of lots, and the engineers say, okay, you have to put such and such drainage in, and then they have the accumulative folks that are in those lots actually through their taxes pay for those drainage districts. Modena Fire District, they write their own budget. Again, we have no say in that matter. What ends up happening is they do their budgets. They have their own way that they do them, and they put them out for a vote. And again, we're just a collection agency for the fire districts. The same thing with the Clintondale Fire District, Plattekill Fire District, and your total is an accumulation of all of those together. So all of those together come down to 16.70 increase. When we look at that, you also have to understand that if you live in Modena Fire District and you're in the town of Plattekill, Modena Fire District is taxed at an increase of just hypothetically 2.39. It's what it says here. So your tax per 1,000 is going to be set at that amount because you live in the Modena Fire District. If you live in Clintondale, their increase is 1.30 from last year. Their tax bill is going to reflect different because, again, their fire tax is going to be a different number. And the same thing when you get into Plattekill. Plattekill is going to be the same thing. They're at 34.75. That, for the folks that are in the Plattekill Fire District, are going to feel that in that area that is covered by the Plattekill Fire District. So it's good to know that, again, it's a tentative budget, but there's a lot of moving parts to this budget. The numbers scare the heck out of us when we first look at them, even when we finish looking at them. Everything is high. $1 here, $2 there, $12 there. That adds up. When you go buy $100 worth of groceries and it doesn't even fill one bag, that's the world we're living in today, and it's tough. So I have always said and will always say that $10 or $20 in a person's pocket changes the world. And we're trying to keep as much money as we can in everybody's pocket so they can live in this world. And again, we're trying to do our best and give the most services we can. But the reality is, all over the map, prices are going up. So again, we'll give it our best and do everything we can to bring those numbers down. And again, it's just a tentative budget, so we have a lot of meetings, a lot of meetings to talk back and forth, and a lot of pencil sharpening and probably eraser additions and what have you. But it's going to be a lot of work, but that's what we do.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Nice man. You're good.
Speaking from a person who never gets these percentages right, when you do your budget, could you kind of figure in, okay, the first two lines, the general fund and the DA highway, that's really town. What is going to be the percentage of that together that you're raising? Not your 16% at the bottom.
It's kind of tough, and the reason why it's tough is because if we do that, just say that it's just numbers. It's confusing. Honestly, I'm not an accountant, but it's confusing to look at those numbers. And if you start separating them, and you look at the percentage from the first to the second, the numbers are going to be so different. It's tough not to put them together and come up with this. One of the things that what you're saying, what we may be able to do, is when we do this block, it might be advantageous to put a T in parentheses so it shows that it's town taxes. So we can put a T by the general fund, a T by the DA highway fund, a T by the lighting districts, drainage, and the other ones are going to be out of our control, the library, the fire departments, and whatever. They do their own budgets.
Right, and depending on which fire district you live in, that's going to be whatever they decide that their percentages is.
Yes.
But when you're doing it, you've got all these numbers. What I'd like to know is what the town taxes is going to be. The percentage of just the
So
two.
I will give you a little insight. And what this is right now, I can show you, and again, this is just approximate. So you're talking about per thousand increase from last year. Last year's tax rate flat is $1.88 per thousand. This year, with this tentative budget, it looks like under the general fund would be an increase of 70 cents per thousand. That's assessed value. That's not market value. That's assessed value. So again, that's even more confusing, right? A lot of
You lost me at word one.
So it's crazy. I mean, it really it's confusing to look at, but when you lay it all down and you spend time with it, it kind of falls into place. So I didn't play out the numbers to give you, from 150 to 160 to 170 of value, assessed value, to let you know exactly what that increase would be. But approximately 70% increase how it stands right now, how the tentative budget was put in, would be per thousand increase on your home or your property. And it's kind of, like I said, it's if you want to stop into the office and I can lay it out and spend more time with you.
You can talk from now till forever, and I'm never going to get it.
No, yes, you would. Because if you came in with your tax bill and you see your assessed value, and then just with two numbers, you could see the difference. It's really not hard to figure out.
Okay, because I just wanted to know what you guys, like when you get your taxes, you get the county tax, what percentage that is going up. Oh, I guess that'll do it when you get your taxes then.
Yes, but also
You'll be able to say it.
we haven't done a budget. We haven't negotiated or looked at every
Oh,
budget.
I realize this is just numbers.
This is just numbers right now.
But what I was asking was when you come up with the real budget, it
To
would
break
be
it
nice.
down.
And the real budget won't have the county on it.
Right.
You have other things that get added on that are still out of the town board's out of control. It's not in control with the town board.
Well, I think she gets that. She wants to know how much the town tax is going to go up.
Yeah.
She knows the 5 districts are all on their own, and the library's on their own.
Yeah.
And again, it's not broken down to the point where, like you just said, each one can be broken down. And I'm sure it's a lot of work to do that, because then we would have to take each one individually instead of collectively. So here it's collectively and overall 16.7. So each one, you want to see like a percentage on each line. Is what you're asking.
No, I just wanted to know how much the town was going up.
Just the town.
Just the town. I don't care about the fire districts.
You don't want to know what the highway department is, or do you consider that part of the town?
That's part of the town.
Okay.
That's a
And then the
separate
lighting
line, though,
district?
isn't it?
Yeah. Well, yes, it's a separate line, but do you want it broke down in what we? Let me
If I
understand.
were looking at this,
Yeah.
you're telling me there's a 16% increase in, and I know these are just
Overall.
overall.
Yeah.
That doesn't tell me how much the town
Just the town.
is,
Okay.
and separated from the
I
town
think-
and the highway then.
I think we can do that. I really do think we can do that. And like I said, the only thing that you would have to figure in if you live in Modena Fire District, then you would have to figure out what that is to come up with the true value in Clintondale and Plattekill and so on. But yeah, that makes sense. We can do that.
Thank you.
I will make a note, actually.
I think last year, if I remember correctly, I think we did do that and break it down because I remember saying my taxes, like I figured mine out, and mine was going to go up like $62 a year after we figured it all out.
Yeah, it'll be easier. What you're saying, it'll be easier to figure out when the budget comes out what your anticipated increase is going to be. Yeah, and that is what we did last year with that chart. But I thought you wanted to break it down like. I guess I understand. I guess I confused you by saying what I was confused with.
I'm totally
So
confused.
yes,
So.
I will do that.
So now you're unconfused, right?
Yeah.
No,
Yes.
30 years I've been asking these same questions.
Yeah, but it's tough, and like I said, I made a note of it, so I will try to address that. Hey, anyone else?
Me.
Yes, sir.
Is it possible tomorrow or Friday, whichever at your convenience, go up to the park and lay out the sidewalks?
Yeah, but we're doing this right now.
Okay.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
no, I'm in
100%.
public input. I'm just asking.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
And that's what Willie's talking about is the concrete walkway that he'd like to put from the parking lot up to the pavilion. But yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, this way we could just do that. So we all on it. I'm not forgetting.
Yep. Is there anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
What's the progress of all the stuff that's going on at the park?
I can't tell you until we go down a few places. I have this on the agenda. You're going to keep me off balance here.
You have trapping at the park, mulch, and Plattekill Day.
It says mulch removal / playground update.
Okay.
I can talk about it now if you'd like.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just actually kind of going slow here in case Ms. Capola would like to ask any questions.
I don't even think she heard you.
What?
She was
Close public.
Hello?
Have any questions?
I asked her.
You have any questions, Esther? I know you just walked in, but we're doing public input, and I'm getting ready to close it. So you're good? All right.
good.
All right. Is there anyone else have any questions? Yes, sir.
On the Plattekill Fire District, have they given an indication what caused that spike versus the other two districts in the fire?
Yes, they do have some ideas to possibly do some other stuff with that. We have a gentleman here from Plattekill Fire
One of the five
Department. He could
commissioners right
possibly-
behind you.
If you look into the proposed budget, if it's under, I don't remember exactly what the line item is, but it's EMS, and you'll see it's a good chunk of change. We have plans on doing, going paid EMTs,
Doing what?
going paid EMS
Okay.
down the road. So that's part of it.
Right.
That's a major spike in that. Yes.
Thanks. And then last thing, Dean, what are the drivers of the general fund that are spiking that up to 38%?
The drivers of the general fund that are actually spiking it up is actually the police department. There's an increase on that budget of over $400,000, and a lot of that has to do with mandates, I believe, that haven't been met in the past, certain things as far as trainings, certain other items, and we have to look at that realistically and see what that looks like, but that's an incredibly large increase. Very
And
large.
on your best wish estimate, what would you like to see that 16 reduced to? What do you think?
I'd like it to reduce to nothing, but that's not going to happen. You know, I really, honestly, I don't know. The anticipation is, if you look at the agenda, that we are going to pass a law to go above the tax cut, and we have to do that. We'd be foolish not to do that. Even if we could stay below it, which I don't anticipate that happening, that needs to be done. But well, again, I don't know what an actual number is, but I can just rest assured that the board is going to work their butts off to get it down as low as we can possibly get it. But we don't want to stop service either. Some of the other drivers are increased in the Medicare, the insurances, things that we don't have a control over. You know, it's the world we're living in. And again, some of the things we can work with, some of them our hands are tied. Anyone else?
I would love to ask a question, but I don't know if I should.
No.
Because Bobby Jackson did open the door to it, and I just want to ask one question to Bobby. I know you don't speak for the whole council, but do you expect that every year you're going to go up 38% until you decide to have a paid EMT and ambulance service? Is this expected because you raised it up 38%?
I know what it was raised. I do.
But
I have known.
I'm asking, is this something that you intend to do every year and go down the arrow?
I think to be fair, honestly, I think to be fair, I think that's a conversation that maybe you and Bobby, Mr. Jackson could have.
He's the one that opened the door.
No, I understand.
How did I open the door?
You answered the question to the
yeah, but I still think, respectfully, I think that is probably a question that you should go to the Board of Fire Commissioners meeting and ask that there. Only because
when is that meeting?
Yeah, only because we don't have anything to do with that. But for your interest, you know, that's a public meeting. So
when is that meeting?
The second Tuesday of every month.
Our commissioner meeting is the second Tuesday of every month.
Mm-hmm.
It is usually posted on your post over here.
Okay.
On our post on our website, correct?
Out here.
Oh, on the
Am I correct, sir?
At what time?
Board?
Yeah, they post their special meetings.
What time?
And stuff, yeah.
7 p.m. But I will.
And again, just to be transparent, we have nothing to do with that.
No, we have nothing to do with it. I just want to know if it's
So on your own,
38% every year.
On your own, you can go there.
Yep.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, I make a motion to close public input at 7:30 p.m.
Second.
A motion on the floor to close public input with a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So carried. All right, thank you. So, down to the old business, trapping at the park. I don't know if you folks remembered, but back early spring, I did receive an email and a phone call from and I'm sure I'm going to pronounce this wrong, but it's Necha D. Barrero Gonzalez, and she is, these acronyms are PHSS officer. I believe that they were doing the study in cooperation or in conjunction with the Cornell University, and this is the USDA. And it says greetings, and this is the Thomas Felton Park. I'm reaching out to inform you that trapping season for this year is officially over. I have taken down the traps that were placed in the Thomas Felton Park. We are happy to announce that no invasive species were found this season. We appreciate the town of Plattekill working with the USDA. We look forward to continuing the efforts in next year's season. Best regards, Nietzsche D. Barrero Gonzalez. So what this was, they were looking for invasive species, bugs, beetles, things that would actually come in, eat the trees, kill the trees, lay the eggs in there, and so forth. So it was actually a pretty interesting study, and I did ask her to conclude the study with their findings, and she did. And that's been going on all over the Hudson Valley. A lot of places, as we've looked through the Hudson Valley, you can see some of the forests are becoming sparsely populated with the trees. They're falling down, whatever. They're getting hit with that some kind of a beetle, pine borer beetle or whatever, and killing a lot of the trees. So it's nice that they went in, they identified not only the bug species that are over there, but the types of trees that we have. And I anticipate that they'll probably reach out again next spring, hopefully so, and they'll put the traps up again. A lot of folks didn't even know that the traps existed through the woods, through the trails, the fields, and I don't know the amount, but I did see one or two of them out there, so that was a pretty good study. So the next thing, mulch removal and playground update. So I will tell you this, that I'm going to kind of piggyback this all together with Plattekill Day. So during Plattekill Day, we had Touch a Truck, which it was fantastic, and there was a lot of construction equipment that came in. And previously with our playground, we anticipated and agreed, the board, to spend up to $10,000 for removal of the mulch. That was the estimate that we had from the folks that were doing the playground, and the anticipation was for them to remove the mulch, and then they would be installing the playground equipment on fresh soil that they had removed. It just made sense. We found a place, AK Farms, that would take the mulch and they would compost it, and in turn we were going to get some of the topsoil back for the material. So it's kind of a win-win situation all around. So funny enough, when the equipment started pulling in, Councilman Fazio said, why don't we go get them? What are they going over there for? And through conversations with those folks, AK Farms, Walter Hacker, and I want to get the name right. Marion, was that Green Meadow?
Green Meadow.
LLC or Green Meadow? I can't remember what it was, but it was Green Meadow Landscaping, Walter Hacker, and also Scott Barkley from Gardner. I talked to those folks at the end of the day, and graciously, they brought their equipment out, and instead of doing it on Plattekill Day, where we would disturb the dust and the food being around and what have you, they showed up 10 o'clock Sunday morning, and collectively, all together, we removed all the mulch. Not only were we able to remove the mulch, but there was some footings, so to speak. There was concrete piers that were still there and other items, and we were able to take that, and AK Farms took it all, which very, very, very appreciative. I mean, that was just a fantastic event. And probably, I would say, within 5 hours, that park was ready to have the equipment put in. So that being said, I really want to say a huge thank you to those folks, and also to bring in Plattekill Day. This year's Plattekill Day, I know it was the best Plattekill Day we ever had. And thank you very much to our town clerk,
Thank you.
Sarah Nelson, and Mary Ann Depew for all the work you guys did. It was off the hook great.
Thank you.
So, let me just see. With that being said, the mulch was removed. Plattekill Day was a great success. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Today, the playground equipment was delivered, I want to say probably around 9:30 this morning, and the truck was unloaded, I would say by noon or shortly after, and the equipment already is starting to be installed. So things are looking good down there. The anticipation of completion is probably about 3 weeks before it's done. There's still other stuff that's going on down there. The Buildings and Grounds Department is putting in concrete patios at the entrance to the pickleball court, and the anticipation is to put a bench on that concrete so folks can change their sneakers or shoes or whatever. We'd like to put something down there like those shoe brushes where you can run your feet through to clean them before you get on the pickleball court. There's some material that has to be brought around the pickleball court, the Gaga court, to be landscaped, and then grass will be planted. Also, with the playground, it's not going to be the exact same footprint, so there's going to be a little bit of landscaping to be done around that as well. So once we see what that looks like with all the equipment that's we have purchased to be installed, at the end of that, there may be room to add some additional equipment possibly next year, and we'll look for grants for that if there's room. Further, the anticipation is that we're going to look into putting benches down there and around the park. We did have 3 benches in front of the trees by the little gazebo, and when they removed the playground equipment, they ended up taking the benches out. They thought that that was included in the playground equipment, but quite honestly, I would probably say it was through half life, so it was probably a good thing they took it so we can replace them with something more up to date, maybe something steel or concrete that will last a lot longer. Where the pickleball court is, I'm waiting right now for the estimates on the poles and the netting to put up at least 1, if not 2, volleyball courts behind. And that's something that we intend to do in-house. And basically what we'll do is we'll put the posts in the grounds, the nets, and try to dig it out or hog it out and put sand in there so we can have a sand pit for volleyball. So things are coming along really good down there. There's a lot of other things issues that we have to look at. The park, a lot of folks are probably not going to like to hear this, but the park is not supposed to have dogs in the park. And I will have to say that Plattekill Day, I stopped counting at 30, and I'm going to say without any hesitation, I'm going to say that was probably twice that amount, and that I saw. I don't know the ones that I didn't see, but there was a lot of dogs down there, and a lot of dogs that were
Not friendly.
not friendly. To
Didn't
say
somebody get
Somebody got bit.
chased by a dog while we were there?
Yeah, there was a couple of incidents with that, but a lot of folks walk their dogs in the fields down in the back and through the woods, and that's one thing. But to actually bring your dog into the park, we can't have that. So we're going to have to address that issue, and I'm sure it's not going to sit very kindly with a lot of folks, but it's a reality that we're facing. So that's something we're going to have to address. The other thing with the park, as Councilman Castillo alluded to earlier, he would like to see, and rightfully so, some sort of a concrete sidewalk or walkway from the parking area to the pavilion, so it can actually easily walk. I know it's grass, I know that grades are ADA compliant, but it makes no sense not to have something that we can push freely a wheelchair up the hill without any effort or a little effort, and as well as walking up there. So that's something we're going to look at also.
And also on that note, because I know it'll come back to us shortly,
Yeah.
the next question, any of the playground equipment, is it going to be accessible for handicapped kids?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. That was one of our target goals, to make that playground ADA compliant so we can have handicapped kids in there. And also, I will say that Ms. Laskowski, you had suggested or requested that we have some sort of a picnic table that a wheelchair can get up and under. And yes, the anticipation is that we're going to try to put together something and come up with some kind of an idea. And not that there's only one, but there's more than one. It's not just one person comes. A lot of times two people come. We had a great event that happened at the park this summer, and I can't say enough about that too. Was the Olympics, and the Olympics that went on. It was great, and those folks really. I mean, I'm looking forward to next year. I hope that they pick us again next year. It really was a good event, and we have to make it ADA compliant. That's just the right thing to do.
But we wanted to get another walkway from the pavilion to the playground.
To the playground.
This way, anybody that's handicapped could come up and use the bathroom. If they're in the playground, they could have a walkway, and they're not going to do the grass. And our seniors should be able to walk
Can't even
with
get to
their
the
walker.
food.
No,
Can't get up the hill to the food.
that's why we're trying. We have this plan. And we're going to name one of them Capola Lane.
Thank you. Well, I'm from the car parking to the
That's what it is.
Yeah, for the car park.
That's what it started.
All right. So we have a lot of things going on as far as the park goes, and we've already. I don't want to say we've completed everything because we haven't. We're in the process, and the process is long and drawn out. We always wish it could go quicker, and we wish it could go smoother, and we wish we could do more. But we're doing the best we can with what we have. Right? And again, going back just to piggyback on Plattekill Day, I anticipate and hope that next year Plattekill Day will only be bigger and better. It was great this year, but I think we have some opportunities to just keep on running with it. It's really, really incredible the job that you guys did. It really is. All right.
Yeah, they coordinated everything, but there was other people also that helped them and to make it a success. Everybody that participated in the car show, everything. So they spearheaded it, and they did a great job. And there was a lot of other people that need the thanks also.
Yep. Thank you. Yeah, so everybody, the highway department went out setting up. I mean, everybody. Your committee for Citizen of the Year, you guys did a lot of work. I know Mark was running around with the camera all day. So everybody had a piece of the action, which was really, really great. So, all right, so the next thing we have on our list is the tentative budget. So, I know we went over and talked about it, but again, just to let you folks know their copies are on the back table, and we will work hard, move forward, and the third page shows you kind of the percentage of the breakdowns that we have there. Let me look in my file. So the next thing we are going to do is we're going to introduce local law number 2 and set a public hearing date for the tax cap. And what I'm going to do is probably bore you, but I'm going to read this tax limit override, the tentative budget for 2025, the law that we are going to introduce. So Section 1, legislative intent. It is the intent of this local law to override the limit on the amount of real property taxes that may be levied by the town of Plattekill pursuant to the General Municipal Law 3-C, and to allow the town of Plattekill to adopt a budget for fiscal year 2025 that requires a real property tax levy in excess of the tax levy limit. Let me just do this. Tax levy limit as defined by General Municipal 3C, the town board finds that the local law is necessary due to the recent extreme inflation, the continued imposition on the town of Plattekill various unfunded mandates from the federal, state, and county governments, as well as continued obligations of the town of Plattekill relative to its contracts with various public sector unions, similar to many municipalities across the state of New York. The town board does not have the discretion to alter the 2024 tentative budget, it's 2025 tentative budget, to reduction in the provisions of the basic service that the town residents have enjoyed over the past many years. Therefore, this local law, is in the public interest of the people of the town of Plattekill. Section 2, authority. This local law is adopted pursuant to Subdivision 5 of General Municipal Law 3-C, which expressly authorizes the town board to override the tax levy limit by the adoption of a local law approved by a vote of 60% of the town board. Section 3, tax levy limit override. The town board of the town of Plattekill, County of Ulster, hereby is authorized to adopt a budget for the fiscal year of 2025 that requires a real property tax levy in excess of the amount otherwise prescribed in General Municipal Law 3-C. Section 4, servability. If any section or subsection, paragraph, clause, phrase, or provision of this local law shall be adjudged invalid for any reason, or shall be deleted or subsequently repealed, the same shall not affect the validity. The validity of the local law as a whole or any part of provisions hereof, other than the part to be adjudged to be invalid and or deleted and or subsequently repealed. The determination by any court of competent jurisdiction that any provisions of the within local law is enforceable, invalid, void, unconstitutional, or in conflict with a federal or state law shall not in any way affect the enforceability or validity of any other provisions contained herein. Additionally, such determination shall be confined in its operation to the person, individual, entity, firm, corporation, company, or circumstance directly involved in the controversy in which such judgment or order shall be rendered. Section 5, effective date. The local law shall take effect immediately upon publication and filing with the Secretary of the State in accordance with the Municipal Home Rule Law of the State of New York, or sooner, if allowed by law. So that is what the law will be, and we will set a public hearing date for our next meeting, and that will be 10/16/24. Okay, next thing on the agenda is going to be to set the public hearing for our budget, and we will set the public hearing for our meeting on 11/6/2024, and that will be during our regular town board meeting, 7 p.m. Okay, we have no transfers. Let me just make sure that I have everything here. Excuse me? Okay. And again, there is no transfers, and thank you for being patient. And we do have our vouchers. A motion to approve the vouchers. I, Supervisor Dean DePew, make a motion to pay voucher detail report dated October 2nd, 2024, which includes the A General Fund in the amount of $39,121.34. The DA Highway Fund in the amount of $45,795.32. This would be the H1 Band Bridge, New York, in the amount of $4,015.41, and the recreation/playground equipment in the amount of $3,107.30. This would be for a grand total in the amount of $92,039.37, recognizing that the Audit Committee has reviewed the claims and found them acceptable for payment. So that is a motion, gentlemen.
Second it?
So we have a motion on the floor with a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So carried. So at this time, the last thing on the agenda is I will make a motion to go into executive session to discuss personnel matters. As a motion, and we have a second on the floor. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So carried.
Could you be a little more specific about generally what you're going to be talking about?
Personnel matters.
But about what? Not an individual, just is it a department? Is it can you be a little more specific?
It's personnel matters because it's several things. So I really can't be more specific than that.
Any action after?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
I hope not, but I don't believe so.